If Raila Odinga were to die while the Orange Democratic Movement, ODM, was already facing internal wrangles, Kenya would be thrust into one of its most delicate political transitions since multi-party democracy began. His death would send shockwaves not only through the party but across the entire political landscape, for Raila has long been more than a politician. He has been the moral compass, the negotiator, and the glue holding together a coalition of diverse interests. The first hours after the announcement would be marked by grief, confusion, and hushed conversations among party insiders about who would take over. ODM, with its history of factionalism, would immediately feel the vacuum. Acting leaders like Anyang' Nyong'o might step in temporarily, invoking party structures that Raila himself once used during his time at the African Union, but beneath the surface, the contest for power would already be raging. Without Raila's unifying presence, deep-seated rivalries would flare. Factions loyal to former deputies like Hassan Joho and Wycliffe Oparanya would begin positioning themselves, each claiming to represent the true spirit of Raila's legacy. Others, more pragmatic or opportunistic, would start exploring new alliances, some even flirting with the ruling coalition for personal survival. The once tightly controlled ODM messaging would splinter as governors, MPs, and grassroots leaders issue conflicting statements about the way forward. What used to be internal debates about nomination procedures and regional representation would now mutate into open warfare over control of the party, its finances, and its national identity. Behind closed doors, the party's Central Management Committee would convene emergency meetings to chart a constitutional way forward. ODM's internal constitution would become a battlefield of interpretation: who qualifies to lead, how succession should be handled, and whether the grassroots branches should be consulted or overridden for stability. Legal challenges would almost certainly follow, as rival factions accuse each other of procedural violations. The courts would be dragged into the storm, with interim orders temporarily halting leadership transitions, just as the party's image begins to crack in public view. Amid the chaos, attempts would be made to project calm. Acting leaders and party secretaries would hold press conferences urging members to remain united, insisting that ODM's vision lives beyond one man. Yet their words would ring hollow for many, as the reality of Raila's absence sinks in. His moral authority, once capable of silencing disputes with a single phone call, would be gone, and in its place would rise a cacophony of ambitions. Younger members might push for reform and renewal, while veterans cling to Raila's legacy as a shield against irrelevance. On the national stage, ODM's partners and rivals would smell opportunity. Coalitions involving ODM would be thrown into uncertainty, with the ruling party seeking to exploit the confusion by poaching influential figures or renegotiating terms of cooperation. The opposition, without Raila's strategic instincts, would weaken temporarily, giving the government freer political space. Yet within ODM, some would argue that this was also a chance for rebirth, for a new generation to take the reins and modernize the movement's approach to politics. In the end, the weeks following Raila's death would determine whether ODM survives as a formidable political force or disintegrates into regional splinters. The party's history suggests both outcomes are possible: unity built through resilience, or collapse born from ambition. What is certain is that Raila's passing would not simply mark the end of an era. It would ignite the fiercest political scramble Kenya has seen in decades, reshaping alliances, testing loyalties, and redefining what opposition truly means in a post-Raila Kenya.
Sad to say I'm on my way.